started. It's been a week since I last uploaded, like from the day when I'm recording. I'm currently working on a video about me knitting a cardigan, but I'm kind of bored with knitting it because it's like been the only thing I've been doing for the past week and a half in lockdown, and I have other projects that I want to do, but I can't start them yet because the yarn isn't here yet. I'm waiting for them to come in. So to save me from boredom and just have the feeling of finishing a project, I'm gonna do some small little embroidery pieces on this tote bag. And I don't know how I'm gonna film this or record this or do this, but I think it'd be fun. I can show you my embroidery process. Embroidery process for some small things. Basically, before I start embroidery, I first obviously have to draw out a design. Normally I'll do that on paper and then maybe like put it on, I don't know what it's called, but I have like a water soluble paper that like, it's sticky, so I can put on whatever I'm embroidering on, and then once I've finished embroidering it, if I wash it, it just like dissolves away. It's really good. But I think for this one I'm just gonna like draw the designs first and then either trace or freehand them onto my tote bag with like a washable marker, just because they're small things, so I should be able to. But because I don't feel like getting out of bed, I'm gonna draw them on my mother's iPad, so I don't have to use paper and pens, and it's like easier to draw while sitting in bed. This is just like a speed paint time lapse of me designing all the things I wanted to embroider. Yeah, in this video I only do the 3 stars, which are the logo that TXT, Yachts Tomorrow By Together, used for the Dream Chapter Magic album / era, because I think it's cool and I really like TXT and I wanted to have something from them on them. And then I've just got the pink heart band-aid thing. The other 2 ones are Moomin and Psyche K from Psyche K, but I didn't end up embroidering them in this video. I talk about it more at the end. Then I just go ahead and trace over the iPad onto like the bag, because it's got a bright screen. I'm just able to see it through, and I'm using a fabric wash like pen, so I can just like get it off with water if I make a mistake, and it's okay. So then my first step whenever I begin like actually embroidering a piece is, especially if I'm doing like satin stitch, which I decided to do for this one, I will outline the whole piece in backstitch, which is what this is called. So you go forward, like when you go up, forward, and then you go back to join with the last stitch you made, if that makes sense. You can see what I'm doing if you're interested. And I did this with 2 threads, like 2 strings from the embroidery thread, because I don't know, I just wanted it thinner, because like I don't know, I probably would go a bit thicker now just because I think it looks a bit better, maybe 3 or 4 strands, but I think 2 just was like worked out better for me, because I ended up, when I filled it in using satin stitch, I used 2 threads, so it just like divides easier if I had overlap. So yeah. Oh, also these clips are like out of order of when I actually did them, so you may see inconsistencies between like my nail polish and stuff, but it was basically just because I recorded a bunch of stuff of me sitting on my bed, and then I looked back at the footage and I was like, wow, you can't see anything that I'm doing, and you're just watching my stubby hands in front of the camera. So yeah. After I outline it, I go in to fill it in, and I use what's called satin stitch, which is just like the long stitches going back and forth between the outlines. And it's, if you see what I'm doing, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's like pretty simple to understand, I think. And the other thing I would say is, when you do this, it's kind of easier if you like create a loop when you're stitching, so you'll go over on the top, and then when you come up to do the next stitch, you go like back to where you started the previous stitch. But that causes you to like waste a lot of string, because you'll have like a lot of thread underneath the pattern, or like on the other side where you're not seeing it. So I like to come up like right next to where I finished the last stitch, if that makes sense. The only problem with that is like it does make it a bit hard, because you can end up coming up out of the same hole, and that causes the stitch to undo. But like it just makes it better in the long run, I think, because you are saving yarn, like not yarn, thread. Do you get it? hope you do. I didn't realize how bad I was at explaining things until I started trying to. The next thing I do is with the band-aid, I did a different kind of outlining technique. I think it's called chain stitch, and I used the whole thread, so all 6 strings within the thread for this one, because I just like it. Gives it a really thick look, and it like kind of stands out from, like, it literally does stand up from the fabric. And with this, so like what you do, instead of going backstitch where you go ahead and then meet up with the end of the last stitch, you like, you see I have like, you have the loop, and then before the loop is like fully against the fabric, you come up and join with the previous stitch. So when the loop is full, you like the new thread is like halfway through the last stitch. I really thought I was gonna be able to show you guys how I do, like explain how I do this, but I don't know how to use words. Okay, because I'm a dumbass and can't explain things just with words, I need to have visual guide. I made this, okay? I just filmed this on my phone, like my screen record my phone, which was really hard because I cannot draw with my finger. But anyway, so this line represents the fabric, and on top of the fabric, like on top of the line is what will be showing, and then the other side is what you won't see. So imagine the top being like the outside of a t-shirt and the bottom being the inside. So when you're doing backstitch, what happens is you'll come up, like see how the arrow's going, and then you'll be going back. And then I change color to show the different stitches. But then from that, you come and go back to where the last stitch began. Does that make sense? I still can't explain it with words, so I'm hoping the visuals are helpful enough. And then with chain stitch, it's kind of like reverse backstitch. Like I realized after drawing this out that like that's what happens. Yeah, so you go over like that, and then you'll come back up, like back. I was pausing here because I was figuring out if I was like doing it right. Yeah, you'll come back up and then loop over, but you'll be looping over on the top again. Yeah. I hope this was able to better like show what I was trying to explain before. Sorry if it doesn't. If you really want to know, there are probably a lot better YouTube tutorials out there. I try my best. Thanks. For the hearts in this piece, I still, like for the hearts with the band-aids, I went and used satin stitch again. But instead of like coming up like going back and forth like I did for the TXT ones, I did loop around. So I had like a lot more thread on the other side, like on the other side of the fabric. Alright, so I then realized I should probably do the same for explaining how I do satin stitch and what I mean by looping back and forth again, because I owe it to you guys, you know? So this is the heart. I use this heart as like an example. It was a bit hard to show what this meant, what I was like trying to explain, even with a diagram, but just understand that the pinker lines, they're what's showing on top, and then the red is what's hidden underneath. So if you're going back and if you're doing loopy loop and going back and forth, you're gonna have the pink going over, and then the red looping like the underneath. You're gonna be looping back to where you started. Also, top-notch graphics and graphic designs from Amelie, you know. If you're doing it the other way, which I normally do, you're going to be looping over on the top to like fill in the space, but then on the bottom you're only going to be doing a little stitch and just looping back up pretty much next to where you finish the last stitch off. So I hope that makes sense. Yeah. But this was just because it was like such a small thing, like it's a small design, like it's a small little shape that I was filling in, so I wasn't too worried about like conserving thread, and also it was just going to be super fiddly trying to come up next to my last stitches without having it like fall apart or come undone when I was doing them. Yeah, but for the big rectangles in the middle, I did go back and forth again because I just prefer that. Yeah. So this is how the bag looks at the moment. This is where I'm finishing it off. I've got the TXT stars. I think they look really nice. And then I've got the band-aid. I think that looks good as well. My only problem is with the rectangles in the middle, the satin stitch is a bit loose, so they do move quite a bit, and I'm worried that it's going to become a bit worse later. And then just ready to go for next time, I've got Moomin drawn on, and then I'm a bit of the way through the one of Psyche K, which is going to take me so long. Oh my god. Hey, how's it going? I've already filmed this bit, but I looked back and I looked not as sexy as I could have, so I'm recording it. And you know what, it's given me a good opportunity, because now I've been able to kind of write down what I need to say, because otherwise I'll ramble, and I still probably will, but now I have some direction, so that's improvement. Basically, I've decided to cut this video into more than one part, and just calling it a work in progress thing, because my original plan was with this and also the embroidery itself, I was it's gonna be a small project that I can just work on over time and have small little finishes, small little things that I can finish and get the joy of finishing a project. But then my stupid pea brain decided to be too ambitious. Originally, when I planned it, I was I'll just do the TXT one. This will take me a few days while also working on other things, and that'll be good. I can talk about what I'm doing. That's it. Quick little thing, get it done, feeling good. But then I was I could add some more. I could also maybe do the band-aids, and I could. It didn't take me that long because I don't have to fill in much, and I was yeah, okay. And then I also decided to draw on Psyche and Moomin, and I was well, now they're there, I have to fill them in. And I was I can just leave Psyche black and white, you know, a manga panel. But then I didn't. I was I have to colour it in, because now I've used pen on it that's not the fabric pen, because oopsies, there was too much going on with the fabric pen. I couldn't tell what I was doing, so I had to use a random ballpoint. Now this is gonna take too long. Okay, so the stitch I'm using for it, if you can see, it's really small stitches. It's all little back stitch things really close together, and it looks really nice because it's really firm. It can't move like satin stitch kind of can, but it takes fucking forever because it's such small stitches, and also because it's so small, the back is really, there's a lot going on there with all the different threads, so it becomes physically hard to get the needle through. Not oh my god, I'm using all my strength here, but just a bit too much effort for embroidery, you know? I'm trying a bit too hard to do this. And then my fingers start hurting. I used to have calluses because I play guitar, but I played guitar. I don't anymore, so I don't have calluses. I've got soft, stubby baby fingers that do painting and stuff. I can't hold needles for that long. Owie! So I can seriously only work on it for so long. I know that makes me sound like such a wuss, but I have other stuff I want to do, so if it gets to the point where I'm I'm in pain, I'm gonna go do that. So anyway, this could take me maybe a month to finish. I'll get back to you when I do. So yeah, that's the video. We've just got TXT and band-aids. Don't they look great? And when I am finished more of them, when I think when I finish Psyche and Moomin, I will wash this so the fabric marker comes off as well. I'm not gonna have those gross grey lines there the whole time. Yeah. Do you want to make more content and be able to have something up at least once a week, just because it's nice to have a schedule for things, but at the same time, because what I like to make is around the crafts that I do, they just take a long time. Knitting projects cardigans and the big vests and sweaters, they take me about a month, even if I'm working on it all the time, like, and then I can't work on it all the time because I just get burnt out and then begin hating it. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'll try my best. Maybe I can just start talking more, I guess, if you like that. All 7 of you. I do have a bunch of projects on the way. Like, I'm currently making a cardigan that I'm like on the final part for. I've just got to finish, not the final, but like I'm getting there. I've got to finish knitting a sleeve and I may be able to get that done either today or tomorrow. Then I just got to block, sew it together and then do some ribbing. So I'm hoping to have that done, like the sweater, this cardigan itself, finished by the end of next week. Oh, but then I got to do that. Never mind, I don't know when that'll be done, but I'm hoping before at least lockdown, which has been extended to the 11th, but it'll probably get extended again because there's been cases like in areas near mine, not in mine, but like next to us, so it's like, ugh. If you have any things you'd like me to do or talk about, or you want to just see, let me know. I'd love to hear your feedback and stuff. Hope you like this. I haven't done it yet, but I'm gonna go back and like record voiceover to explain what I'm doing, so hopefully you liked that. I don't know if it's good. Yeah. I'll see you next time. Have a good time. Have a good life. Make choices. Bye.